So I read this bad boy a while back because the premise intrigued me. Also, I had recently read the 1,000 pages of To Sleep in a Sea of Stars and was curious to see how that book's author could possibly produce a hardcover that weighed less than an Abrams tank.
Boom. Roasted.
Now, I'm obviously talking about Christopher Paolini, the guy who wrote The Inheritance Cycle. So, Aragon, Eldest, Brissinger, and Inheritance. All told, those fantasy tomes weighed in at something like 904,000 words. So when I saw that Fractal Noise, the topic of today's video, presented a refreshing 300 pages and was set within the same universe as To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, I grabbed it. And I've got to say, I liked it. I feel like it pushed some philosophical concepts a little too hard and did not seamlessly integrate them into the story, but that's really my only gripe about this novel. So while I work on this thing I'm working on, I figured it would behoove us to discuss Fractal Noise and why you should or shouldn't read it. So with that, let the multitasking begin. Let's go! The novel follows Alex, a scientist who recently suffered a tragedy. He and several other scientists discover a planet that's sending out blasts of noise every 10.6 seconds. Apparently, the blasts of noise are coming from a perfectly circular hole in the planet, 31 miles wide. Pretty enormous, and the electromagnetic interference makes it difficult to approach except on foot and using rudimentary equipment. So Alex and his buddies land a safe distance from the pit and start plodding towards it. And of course, the blasts of noise get more and more intense as they approach, making it difficult to sleep, think, and cling to their sanity. Kinda reminded me of the movie Sunshine. External journey aside, Alex undergoes an internal one, a hallmark of all good novels. In short, he thinks that reaching the pit will bring closure to the aforementioned tragedy that he suffered. He becomes borderline suicidal and obsessed with reaching the pit. And beyond the noise itself, the trek is difficult because the planet is cold and its air contains potentially hazardous microbes. Plus, there is a strong headwind and the scientists are constantly shadowed by huge space turtles.
I like turtles.
I don't want to spoil the ending, but I will say that the finality is pretty open-ended. I used to think those sorts of endings were because authors couldn't figure out a satisfying conclusion, but I've learned that open endings are a way of encouraging readers to participate in the experience. It forces them to come up with their own ending and make the story a more personal part of their life. Plus, it tends to generate a lot of post-publication conversation. Speaking of publication, Fractal Noise definitely saw its share of controversy.
Ooh, did something awkward happen? I could probably relate.
Tor used an AI image for the initial cover. It wasn't Chris's decision, supposedly. It was the first mainstream novel to use AI art, prompting cover artists everywhere to review bomb the book. Midjourney generated the art, but technically, Tor didn't submit the prompt. Tor got the image from a stock art site. Said it didn't know it was AI generated, which maybe, but something about the explanation doesn't smell right.
Stings the nostrils.
As a final note, Fractal Noise's overarching theme has to do with our significance, or lack thereof, in the universe, and why life is worth living. Tough topics to handle, and as I mentioned, the execution was a bit clunky and heavy-handed. But I give Chris props for trying. Way more than the Inheritance Cycle, this story felt focused, honed, and tangible. And I very much enjoyed the sense of mystery. The constant thuds of noise escalate perfectly. And the tension meter only climbed when the space turtles disappeared, prompting the characters to be like, "There are the turtles!" With all that said, who is Fractal Noise for? Well, I'd say it's for hard sci-fi adventure folks who liked The Martian and enjoy harrowing journeys and contentious group dynamics. Out of 5 stars, I'd give the story 4, the prose 3, the action 5, the setting 5, the plot 4, the pacing 4, the character arcs 3, and the research 4, for an overall rating of 4.0. So it just makes it onto my recommended titles, which include anything at or above a 4.0. So yeah, it has my stamp of approval, but by all means, ignore me and read something else. But before you go, Please subscribe and leave a quick comment. Until next time, bye.